want you to take your circle, and at any point except the middle, I want you to make a little fold in it. So don't fold it in half, but like you can fold the corner. It's not a corner because it's a circle, but just fold a part to your circle. Anywhere. That's perfect, Kamora. Yep. All of them. Just fold a little piece of your circle. Just as long as you don't do it in half, that's perfect. Fold it and then open it back up. Owen, you doing it?
Like this?
Yep, perfect. Yep, perfect. And you can open it back up. So fold it anywhere. Now that
So like
line
this?
you just made, yep, open it back up. What is that line you just made called?
A chord.
A chord, perfect, because it's not through the center, right? Now I want you to fold your circles in half through the center. Go ahead and fold them in half so they're symmetric. The same circles, yeah. Fold them in half. Fold all circles in half, yep. All of them in half, perfect. And then you're gonna take your pencil and draw a line down the middle that you just created for all four of them.
Like down this way?
Down the fold you just made. So open it back up and it's right there. Yeah. Yep, you're gonna make a line down the middle part you just made where the crease is. Perfect. So fold all four and then open them up and make a line down the middle. What is this line called?
A diameter.
Diameter. What's it called?
Diameter.
Because it goes through the what?
Middle.
The middle. This is when you split the circle in half and it goes through the middle, it's called the diameter. Alright. Now, our next step is we are going to measure the diameter, and that is what's going to go in our second column right here, length of line. That's what's going to go here. So you're going to put your ruler down, put it on the table. It's easier to just put it on the table. You're going to open it up, have it put one side on 0, and measure the other side, and count. So this is his first circle is 5 inches and some change. So he's going to count how many little tabs he has. But you're going to measure them and put that in your second column. So you're going to measure them. So move it a little bit more. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3 is our closest whole number. So you're going to say 3, 5, and then you're going to count how many you have. I know that this is 16, 15, 14. So you have 14. So 14 over 16. So do that in your calculator again. 14 over 16. Or 14 divided by 16.
17.
And so your decimal is going to be 0.875. So like that. So do that for all of them.
Okay, I got 5.
So you have 5 and almost a half and not quite a half. So that would be about
5.3.
it's about 5.3. Which you got there. And now measure for all of them. So that one, oh, we're on the wrong side. We need to be on the inches. So that one is 1 and some change. So 4 over 16. I thought that was that maybe do that. You do it. 4 divided by 16. And that's the decimal input. Yeah, you put 1.
The line in the wrong spot.
Yeah, 1.35. She released your next week's stuff, so I think that's why. Wait. No, not this week. Go to semester 1 and make sure there's no accident
Done.
there.
That's what I looked at it. That's what I was looking at.
Well, then go look at, you looked at number 2 too?
Yeah, that's how I did the 8.01 one.
If it's not on there, you can't do it, then don't worry about it. You can do it next week. Because she'll probably have to unlock it.
I went to
1.2.
Can I do? I know how to put that in 2 or 3. I can go to my brain and just click them.
That would be
Two.
1.2.
And can I
Do 1.25. 1.25. And write it right.
Miss Moore, I think I'm doing this wrong.
Probably not. Right, that's 5 and 6.
4.
So 4/16.
4/6.
That's times.
Right at 5 and 2.
0.25. So 5.25.
Is it 5 point? Is it
5.25 for this one.
5.25?
5 inches, 0.25. Yes. It's almost a half. So it's like 7 divided by 16. So 2.46. Maybe you got all yours done? Okay. Maya, you got yours? Jalen, you already finished yours? One point. So that goes here. And then this number 3 down. Because that's bigger than 2 inches. 3 point like 89. And let's look at this last one, number 2. So what are we measuring? The what? And what is it? Across the middle? Diameter. Yep, we're measuring the diameter.
When are we gonna do the radius?
In just a second.
Miss Moore did it.
That looks like 5.
I put 5.3 down.
Yeah, it's about, this was about 5.25. It's a little bit closer to 4. That one I would say like 3.89. That looks about right. Alright, is everybody done with their diameters? Okay. So, in our next column, you can see in the middle, the length of the line divided by 2. So what we just made was the diameter. What did we say the radius was?
The distance from the center,
It is half of the what?
half of the diameter.
Half of the diameter. So that number you just put down in your second column is the diameter. In order to find out the radius, you're going to divide by 2 to make it in half. So you're going to take the numbers in your second column. A lot of you got 5 something. You're going to put that in your calculator, 5 point whatever, and divide it by 2. And that goes in your third column because that is the radius. So what you have in your second column, so you just measured the diameter. Now we need to know half of that. So you're going to put that number in your calculator and divide it by 2. And that's your middle number.
Okay.
Because you are splitting them in half.
Wait, so Miss Moore, I would do 5.
And that's what you'll write right here. Jalen, you got it? You need a calculator. So you're going to put that number in and divide it by 2.
And you just put the
Do it on your
number.
calculator.
You just put the number in the box.
In the box, yeah. I love that you guys like to do it in your head, but when they give you the calculator, it's best to utilize it just to make sure you're not making any errors. That one I can go. Oh, that's what. So the radius is half of the diameter, meaning 2 of the radius make 1 diameter. If you have 2 radius, guess what you call it? What do you think? Typically we don't call things radiuses. What would we call the 2 radius?
Radium?
That's close.
Ratio.
No.
Ratio. No.
No. It's not a word you've heard before. It would be called the radii. So more than 1 radius is called the radii. Like radii. Radii. Yeah, radii. Finished perfect. Alright, we're moving on in just a second.
Hold up.
So for this one,
So 1.25 divided by 2?
and 0.
Yep, that's the
So
answer.
I'll just put 0.
0.625. Yep. Alright, now I told you guys at the beginning that we're trying to figure out how the diameter and the radius compare to the circumference. How we're able to take the middle and half of the middle to figure out the outside. So what you're going to do now is you are going to take the length of the yarn, which is the circumference. You're going to take this first column right here, and that number is going to be on top. So circumference is on top. It's the first number you put in your calculator, and you're going to divide it by your length of line, what's in the second column. So you're dividing it by the diameter, the number right next to it. So for your first one, a lot of you got 17 inches. So you would do 17 divided by 5, whatever you got for that one, 5 point whatever. And the number you get is the number you're going to write in that 4th column, the one that says error.
Why does it say error?
I don't know why they put error.
Oh, okay.
All right, Jalen, you're splitting these in half. 2.5 divided by 2. That one right there. Yes, so it's going to give you a big decimal. You only need to do 2 decimal places. So 3 point whatever those 2 are. Yes. Yep. That's the answer right there. Mason, you doing okay? All right, Jalen.
Finger.
So pull up your calculator. Put that number in first. Divide it by that. That's what you're gonna put here, but you only need to do 2 decimal places. So 3.1. 3.31. Did you get that all done, Jalen? You got one more. 1.25 divided by 2. I know. Go ahead.
Okay, so this number, divided by this number, so the diameter, wait, what did I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do.
Lauren, were you listening?
Yeah.
Okay, you're dividing the first column by the second column.
Yeah.
What a big number.
How do I fit it in the box? It's a big number. I'll let me more check because I don't think I did that one.
Okay, so when we measured this circle. Oh wait, sorry.
Divided by the diameter, right?
Sometimes the numbers get all mixed up because these aren't perfect circles. But there's something that I want these numbers to equal. So I'm gonna make sure.
Oh, this is what I do. For these two. See, mine was a different. Yeah, mine was a different. See, mine's 3.6875. Okay. Mine, then mine is 12.5. And mine is 7.5.
So I think we got 12 and mine got 13. I think this one was a little off. We may have actually switched those. That is what happened. It's because they were out of order. So let me do.
I don't know. I gotta give him some check mom because I don't think I did it right.
Okay. So this one was
My
actually
is killing me.
7.
15 minutes till it's
5. All right. So now this happened in the past. Divide these two again and see what you get now. Okay. So put in 17 first. Oh, this. Put in 5.3 and divide by 2. That's the answer there. Now put in that one.
Where's your circle two?
Up there. Circle 2 is going to be like 2.4. 4 or 5. 2.45. So now divide 2.45. No, no. 2.45 divided by 2. And write that one right here. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. So go ahead and erase that one. That one's about 4. So I'm about 4. So you already know 4 and half is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it's 1 and it's like 1.1. 1.15 would be fine.
Can you help me?
Yes, I'll be
please?
right there. Once I finish there. Yeah. So now do 1.15 divided by 2. So that's that one.
What?
Yeah. Now you're gonna divide to get this one. 17 divided by 5.3.
Okay, what's the 157? What's the 157?
And that you're only gonna write the 2, so 3.20. Just do 2 places. Alright, do that for the rest of those. Yes, that's better. Perfect.
Can you help me now?
Yes, I'm
I've been waiting for like an eternity.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so what you need to do is take both of you. Take this number.
Okay. We have a different
Lauren.
number.
That was not, I know, that was not your number. Make that like 17.
17?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now put that number in and divide it by that number. Perfect. So you're gonna write 3.08. Because you only need to do 2 decimal places.
70. Are you sure this won't come out with a humongous number?
It might, but it's
Mine
okay.
did.
It's fine. We're only using 2 decimal places. Now this one divided by this one. So all you need to write is 3.73.
3.73?
3.73.
Are we supposed to have different answers?
Yeah, it's fine, because some of y'all circles just cut different. 2.375. 375. No, yeah, 3.75. So just write 3.15.
But how do I?
Divided by this number.
2.375.
Oh, there it is. 3.15.
3.15.
So is just 3.3 repeating.
What? But then.
We're gonna talk about it. Now put this one in 12.5.
Like that?
Yep.
12.5 divided by
2.375.
And now let's do
divided by what now?
3.875. Sorry.
3.875.
So that's a 3. I don't know why it looked like that. 3.25. And now do 4 divided by that number.
2.9.
Okay, so
Divided by
let's try
31.25.
divided by 1.25.
So 3.4.
Perfect.
But is this supposed to have a pi sign?
Okay, do 3.8 divided by 4. Yeah, no, right that one.
I didn't put that right.
3.04. No, it's sometimes it messes up. Alright. Are you guys done doing the pi column?
Yes.
So what do you notice, if you did it correctly, what do you notice about all 4 of those numbers? What do they have in common?
They all have 3.
They all start with 3. And that is because, they're supposed to. That is because
Your first number.
the diameter, what we measured across, the diameter is about 3 times the length of the circumference. It is also represented by pi, which is which is 3 point a bunch of numbers. Pi actually goes on forever. So now go back to where you were taking notes, because we got one more thing to add. Go back to where we were taking these notes, this vocabulary notes, and we're going to write down the formula for pi.
Hey, can we make some?
Not today, but maybe eventually.
Huh?
All right, so pi looks like this. You have a squiggle and 2 lines coming down.
Pi.
So draw that. That is what pi in math is. I want you to do the squiggle and then 2 lines going down.
Okay.
It is spelt this way,
P-I.
P-I.
Yeah, but mine's was none like that.
That's okay. Some people draw it like this, and that's okay too, if you don't do the squiggle. Your tests will have the squiggle, but you just need to align with the two little guys. So like this is another option, if you can't do the squiggle. All right, and pi is the ratio, which we know the ratio means the comparison. The ratio of the circumference, our first number we found out, to the diameter. That is the actual definition of it. So it's the ratio or comparison of the diameter to the circumference. You're going to want to write this down, Owen. And it is the number we're going to use in this class, we're only going to use 2 decimal places, is 3.14. It will always be in this class 3.14. It goes on forever. There are infinite decimal points, just keeps going and going and going and going. But for this class and for your SOL, when you're using pi, you will only use the decimal 3.14. I got one more thing for us to write down, and then we're going to do some practice. So, the formula, because instead of trying to do all this every single time we had to figure out the circumference of a circle would take forever, right? There is one formula that we can just do over and over and over again. And that is C, which stands for circumference, is equal to the number 2 pi r. And we'll talk about what that means. But you're going to want to write this down. This is the formula. This is the most important part of this lesson today. is that the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. And we're going to talk about what that means. Sometimes they're going to give us the radius, and we're going to have to figure out the circumference. Sometimes they're going to give us the circumference, and we have to figure out everything else, but we're going to talk about that. So C stands for circumference. 2 is always the number 2. It just always will be the number 2. And it's because you're doubling this number right here. Pi will always be 3.14. So when you're solving it, you will take that away and plug in 3.14 in your calculator. And then what do you think R stands for?
Radius.
Radius. So the radius. And so since these are all touching each other, what operation are we doing? Multiplying. So let's say, for example, I gave you this circle, and I gave you the radius of 4. And I said, now you need to find the circumference. In your calculator, this is important, don't miss this. In your calculator, you would put the number 2 times, what did we say the number for pi is?
3.14.
3.14 times, what's the radius?
4.
4. You would put those numbers in, and what do you get?
6.28.
So, well, no, make sure you times it by 4. You got 25.12? Then that means C is equal to 25.12. All you do is multiply those three numbers together. This 2 and this 3.14, the 2 and the 3.14 do not change. It's always 2 times 3.14. The only thing that changes is the radius. So if I took this away and gave us a radius of 10, what number do I need to change here? I said our 2 doesn't change, our pi doesn't change. What needs to change?
The 4.
The 4. And what needs to take its place? 10. And then I can multiply. Go ahead and multiply that, and you'll get the circumference of this circle.
Wait, so multiply.
So 2 times 3.14 times 10. Wait, how everybody else can say?
Times 10.
Uh-huh. So 2 and 3.14 are permanent. They don't change. They're stuck there.
Oh, I think I
All right, Faithlyn, what'd you get?
62.8.
62.8. That is the circumference if those are our measurements.
Yeah, I got you.
Now, let me tell you this one last thing, and then we'll go to resource. So what if I did this? We'll do a lot of more practice tomorrow. What if I said, the diameter is 12. What do I need to do before I can plug this in?
You have to divide it.
By what?
2.
By 2. So what is half of 12?
6.
6. So I'm going to bring down my 2, bring down my pi, and now, because this is the diameter, that means this is 6 and this is 6. I have 2 radii of 6 times 6, and then I can multiply to get my circumference. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do a lot more practice with it tomorrow so you can have some more hands-on. Did you find the answer? What is it?
37.68.
37.68. Good job. All right, go ahead and pack up your stuff so that it's clean for when you come back. Plug up your computers. And make sure you keep all these. Yeah, make sure you keep all these papers. Yes.
It's not keeping on getting it. It's almost 6